Hello everybody, Tom here. Welcome back to another video. This video is going to be my Premier League predictions. I'm doing this on the BBC Sport website. As you can see, if you do want to predict your own Premier League table, I will leave it in the description. A link to the actual website in the description where you can actually go and do it. Today is the 8th of August. The Premier League starts on the 10th, I believe. Today's Wednesday. In 2 days, it's on the 10th. It's Friday. So we're not too long away, and I think this season is going to be very interesting, especially sort of in the bottom half of the table. I think there's going to be quite a few teams this year I think are going to surprise us. A couple of players as well in those teams as well that I think will surprise us. I think the top 6 is going to be very interesting this year as well. If you do disagree with any of my predictions, just let me know in the comments. I'll probably be sure to read them to you or reply to any of them. So anyway, let's get into my Premier League predictions. So as you can see, we can pick a team and put them in certain positions. So I think 20th, I think it's going to be Cardiff City for me. I think Cardiff, I don't think they've got a very good team. Well, they did alright last season obviously, but they did alright defensively, but in terms of attacking, I don't think they did score a lot of goals. So I think that's probably an issue that they might have during the season. I think that's probably what might get them relegated in the end. I think they scored less than Fulham last season, who were also in the Premier League this year, so I just don't see them surviving this year. I think it's going to be very tough for them. Anyway, 19th position, I think is probably going to be a bit controversial. We're going to pick Huddersfield to finish 19th, just because I don't think they've bought in players of quality, but I think last season as well, they only just survived by the skin of their teeth, and I think towards the second half of the season they did have a bit of a dip in form, like especially towards the end. So I think it's going to be a little bit harder for them this year, and I don't think they've got the strength to maybe survive this year, and I don't think it's going to be enough for them. Now 18th place is probably going to be a little bit controversial, like I say, but I've had a big think about this, about maybe like the depth of the team and the position the team are in, but I'm thinking Southampton, just because I don't think they're heading in the right direction. I don't think they're not as good as they used to be. I think they miss like Mauricio Pochettino like massively, and probably Ronald Koeman as well, maybe. Brought Mark Hughes in, which I don't think is massively convincing appointment. I just don't see them really progressing. I don't think they've brought many quality players in as well. I do think they've still got some alright players in the team as well. They've got quite a few good players, like I say. But I think Mark Hughes is probably the favourite to, I think, get the sack according to the bookies betting websites. So I don't think it's going to be a good season for them. They might unluckily get relegated just because of maybe goal difference or points or something, but I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's going to be their season for them where they stay up. I don't think it's just, yeah, like I say, I just don't think it's going to be their season. Okay, on to 17th, guys. It's going to be quite a weird one, but well, I say a weird one. I think it's going to be Brighton, who might just about stay up in my opinion. I think what's his name? Chris Hughton, that's it, yeah. Chris Hughton, the manager. I think he's done alright with Brighton. I think they do play some alright football, but I don't think they'll have a good season compared to last season, but I still think they might just stay up. I still think they've got a decent team, and I think they still play some good football. And I think Chris Hughton will probably do a good job like he did last season, and I think it might come down to goal difference, but this the bottom sort of half of this table is going to be so close again like last season. It always seems to be very close in terms of points and goal difference, because a lot of these teams in this area seem to drop points a lot. So yeah, I think I'm going to pick Brighton for 17th. Now 16th is this year is going to be Watford for me. I feel like Watford are a weird team to predict this year. I don't think what's his name, the manager, Javi Garcia, I think, yeah. They've lost, obviously. I don't think they've got really a a true identity of where they're playing. I don't think they're very consistent as a team as well. And I think they've lost a couple of players. I think they've brought in some decent players. They lost obviously Rickarlison to Everton, who was good for I think probably 6 months, but which might not be a difference maker in the end. But at the end of the day, I think he probably was one of their decent players. They've still got some decent players in Deeney and Pereira, some couple of key players in that team as well. So I don't think they'll do well this year, but you never know. They could get relegated, but I don't think they're shit enough to go down, in my opinion. So I'm probably going to say 16th. Now 15th, this team could easily finish maybe lower or maybe even higher, but they're really weird to predict. But it's going to be Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth are a team that's they're quite a solid team now. In terms of like how they secure their Premier League safety. I look at the team as well, guys. Like they've got an okay team, in my opinion. I don't think it's a team that massively inspires. You know, Eddie Howe for me has done a pretty good job of Bournemouth over the years, and I think they'll stay up as well. Some people tipping them for relegation, but I think they'll do all right. I don't think they always do brilliantly, but they always do enough to probably stay up. But I don't think they'll finish any higher of 15th. Could easily finish lower, but I can't see them finishing maybe higher than 15th. So I think it's going to be a pretty interesting season for them. So yeah, Bournemouth for 15th. Now 14th. This team really this year, they could finish lower, but you never know. Just like look at the team, and I think they need to strengthen more, and they haven't really bought anybody in. And that team's Newcastle. I don't think Newcastle really have bought any massively inspirational players, or I say inspirational. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but players that have quality need quality players, like somebody maybe who can score goals. Obviously, bought in Rondon, but Solomon Rondon from West Brom. But I don't think it's going to be he's going to be a massive goal scorer. But I do think they'll just about stay up. But if they're going to challenge for maybe the top half of the table, they need more players. And Rafa Benitez is not getting the players that he wants. And I kind of feel for Newcastle in some ways, because, especially for the fans as well, because the club is not in a good state at the moment. The owner's Mike Ashley he's not a good owner whatsoever. Just doesn't give Rafa Benitez what he wants. Doesn't give him the funds. Doesn't give him, the players. And to be honest, if Rafa Benitez walked maybe halfway through the season, left the club, I would not be surprised, because he deserves so much better. He's done a great job at Newcastle last season with that team as well. Done a brilliant job, and if he can do that again, then that'll be brilliant. But yeah, that's what I think anyways. And if anyone does disagree, just let me know. 13th place is going to be quite a bit of a bold prediction, but I'm thinking Fulham, just because they've bought quite well this transfer window. They've still got players like Ryan Sessegnon. They brought in Mitrovic again. They brought Andre Schürrle as well, which is really good. They have brought in some pretty good players, and I think they've got a decent team, in my opinion, to maybe stay up. I think Ryan Sessegnon is a player who I think could maybe surprise a few people this season. I think he was very good last season in the Championship, and I think he could do some damage this year in the Premier League. So I think I'm alright with that prediction. I think Fulham. I think most Fulham fans will take that, especially with the players that they brought in. I think they should do alright, Fulham. Now 12th place, I think it's going to be Crystal Palace. I think Roy Hodgson, I don't think he's been relegated as a manager, and I think his style of football, I don't know even if he has an identity of where he wants to play, but I think the way he sort of plays kind of suits Crystal Palace. And I think they've bought. Well, no, I think they have bought in some place. I think they bought Coyote from. I don't know if that's how you say it. Coyote. I think that should be how you say it. I'm not too sure. I think some of you might know who I'm referring to. Yeah, just check with Kiyata. Just check there. I think he'll do alright for them. I think they've still got Wilfred Zaha at the moment. Obviously, I think the transfer window shuts. I think tomorrow. Transfer window shuts tomorrow. So and I think they need Benteke to score more goals. I think he needs to do more, Benteke. I think he didn't score enough. I think if he he needs to score more, especially like it's still got players like Van Aanholt as well, who players that they've still got a decent team. I think probably should do all right. Our 11th place is going to be Burnley for me. If Burnley get in the Europa League, because they're still in the qualifying stages, then I think it might put them off a little bit. And what I mean by that is it might cause a few tired legs or something like that, which probably won't make us any sense or make many impact at the end of the day. Sometimes we've seen in the past that a lot of teams who are in the Europa League and the Premier League, they tend to struggle in the league. And if at one point they might focus on Europa League, then I think it might put them off, like I say. But Burnley, I don't think they'll do as good as they did last season, but I still think they'll have a good season as well. They haven't really brought players with a lot of quality, and I think they brought in Ben Gibson from Middlesbrough. They brought Joe Hart in as well, and they've got a lot of English keepers in there as well. So Chris Wood could become good one day, and you never know. But I don't know if I don't think he played a lot last season in terms of starting a game. But I think Burnley should do all right in my opinion. Now 10th spot is going to be. They're such a strange team to predict this year. You never know where they're going to finish. It's going to be Leicester City. Losing Mahrez was a massive blow for them, and I think they've bought in another player as well. I think he was from Monaco or something. Not as good as Mahrez, I don't think, but definitely not as good as Mahrez. But you never know, could do all right. But I still think Leicester are a weird team. Like I don't think they'll finish as high as 10th, higher than 10th this season. I'd be quite surprised if they maybe get 8th or so, or 7th or something, or maybe even higher. But I don't think they'll ever get top 4, let alone win the Premier League again at some point. Because that season, like the 15-16 season where they won the league, that was a ridiculous season in my opinion. I don't think the squad is brilliant as the 15-16 season, obviously. But yeah, I'm not massively convinced by Leicester. They could easily finish a lot lower, but I think 10th's probably alright. So yeah, I'm going to say 10th for Leicester. 9th place, probably another bold prediction, but it's going to be Wolves. I just look at the transfer activity. They've brought in a lot of decent players. João Moutinho, Benica Fobe, Rui Patricio, Adama Traore. Brought in some good players. They've got a decent manager, and I think what's his name, Nuno Santo. I think might be wrong, but might have pronounced that incorrectly. But I think you just know who I'm referring to. But the Wolves manager, he's a very good manager. He's done well with Wolves in last season in the Championship. So I think they'll do all right this year. I think this is probably the highest I think they'll finish. I can't see them finishing any higher. They could easily finish a lot lower than 9th, but not anywhere near the relegation zone. I still think they'll do pretty good. If they do finish a lot lower, or maybe even get relegated with the players they bought, I'd be very surprised, because they've bought really well, and I think the players that they brought in, like the teams who they've played for, I think they should do pretty well this season. So I think, yeah, I'm going to say 9th for that. 8th place, for me, Everton. They've bought well, like they always do. Well, they bought well last season, but they didn't. The majority of the players, they didn't perform last season. They spent a lot of money last season, and they didn't challenge maybe for the top 6 sort of area. They did finish 8th last season, which it didn't really feel like they finished 8th. They bought Marco Silva in, who I think will, do a pretty good job in the end. So I think 8th place will be alright for me. So I'm going to say 8th place. Now 7th place, it's going to be West Ham. Might be a bit controversial, but I think they've done alright. I think they've done alright pre-season, and I think 7th place would probably be a fair spot for them. And I think having Manuel Pellegrini as the manager, I think he'll do some good things with West Ham, and I think it'll be maybe not a very good season, but a season where will be much better than last season. I think it was disappointing for them last season. With the money they spent last season, the owners aren't very ambitious. They haven't given a lot of promises to the fans. Had a lot of falling out with the fans. Obviously, the fans turned on them massively. And to be fair, the state of the club, it's not good, obviously. But I think a lot of West Ham fans now are just hoping that they have a much better season this season. I think I think they will have a good season. Yeah, 7th, I'm alright with that. Now 6th, down the top 6, this is probably the hardest one to predict out of the whole table, because it just can easily rotate, like I say. And as I say, guys, this is in my own opinion, so like I say, it's, if you do disagree, I appreciate your opinion, obviously. So 6th place, I'm thinking Chelsea, because I don't think Maurizio Sarri's a good manager. Let's get that out of the way. He's a very good manager in my opinion. Did some good things with Napoli. Probably should have won Serie A last season, but he didn't end up doing that in the end. So I don't think he's had enough time to look at his team. Could potentially lose Courtois, as I'm recording this video on the 8th. He could go on deadline day. Maybe players like Hazard could leave, you never know. They've still got Morata, which he didn't do enough last season. He's not as good as Costa. If they kept Costa, I think they'd be doing so much better, Chelsea. I'm really not sure at this point. I'm still predicting this table, the top 6 table, in my head right now. I think they sacked Conte 2 days after pre-season start, and I think everybody kind of knew that Conte was going to go. But I don't think he's had enough time, Maurizio Sarri, to prepare his team and look at the team that he has. Watched that game against Man City in the Community Shield. They didn't look great whatsoever. They didn't look like there was enough preparation in the team, and I think they're gonna struggle this season, especially with like Europa League maybe. They could get Champions League through Europa League if they win it, but I don't think it's going to be a great season for them. So 5th place, and purely because they haven't really bought anybody as I am recording this video, it's going to be Tottenham. I don't think they've bought anybody in whatsoever. Don't get me wrong, they still have a decent team in Harry Kane, Eriksen, Son, Dele Alli, who else? Lloris, yeah, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, some good players, but I think if they're going to challenge for the title, they need more players, man. They need a lot more players, and if they don't challenge for the title this season, or maybe even next season, and don't buy many players, then I think this is such a wasted opportunity for them, because they've got a very sort of golden generation like team, and I don't think they'll get top 4 this year, just because they haven't really bought anybody. And if they buy anybody on the pre-season, well, not the pre-season, the transfer window ends tomorrow, but it's deadline day anyway. If they do buy anybody, it depends on what type of player they bring in. Players like Harry Kane will still get probably 25 or 30 odd goals next season. I think he'll still have a great season for them. There's no doubt about that. But I can't see him getting top 4, just because they need more players. Tottenham, they really do need a lot more players. So I'm going to say 5th for Tottenham. Now 4th place, for me, I think we'll have a much better, much improved season. It's going to be Arsenal. They've still got players like Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think them two probably should start together. I think a partnership like that would be alright. Good preparation, and I think a lot of their players will get a kick up the arse from the manager Unai Emery, and I think they'll do alright in my opinion. I think they'll have a good season, a much improved season. I don't think they'll be contenders for the title, but maybe next season or something they could maybe get there. But I think they'll have a good season. Arsenal could win the Europa League. They've got a manager who's very good at doing that. I think it's quite clear that Wenger was the problem last season, because I think they bought players in certain areas where, especially the striker area, they bought Aubameyang, they got Mkhitaryan still, Ozil. They bought on a new keeper, which is probably massively needed for them. So I think Arsenal will have a better season than last season, obviously. 3rd is going to be Manchester United for me. I don't think they've bought in a lot of players. They've still got players like Lukaku, De Gea, obviously. A lot of good players. They've still got Mata as well. Martial, I don't know what the situation is with him, because I think he's had a falling out with Mourinho or something, because he left the training ground. Martial left the training ground to go see his wife because she was giving birth, and I think he had to stay a little bit longer or something like that. That's what I've heard, and Mourinho's just not been happy with it, and I don't really see that sort of same Mourinho in like the old sort of Mourinho when he used to just win everything. And I think it's going to be a harder season for Man United, not as good as last season. They finished second obviously last season, which on paper it looks good, but really it didn't really feel like they finished second at all. They were miles off challenging for the title. They pretty much let City run away with it. I can't see Man United having a brilliant... I do think they'll get top four, there's no doubt about that, but I don't think they'll have a great season, a season that's sort of a memorable one. And I think you never know, it could be Mourinho's last season at Man United. I don't think a lot of I don't see like them challenging for the title. They probably could be contenders for the title, but I think it's not going to be a great season maybe to remember for them. So I think third place is probably alright for them. Now second place is probably, I think it's just on paper the look at the teams that are probably, I look at Man City and look at Liverpool, it's just which team's definitely better. I've made my decision obviously. I think it's kind of obvious, well I say it's obvious, but obviously Liverpool are going to finish second and Man United are going to finish first. Liverpool, I think my club Liverpool, we bought quite well, bought players in certain areas that we've just needed. Players like Fabinho, Keita, bought in Shaqiri, who I think could actually be a good player for us. I think they've had a good pre-season, especially like Sturridge. He's looked quite sharp during pre-season, and I hope he does well in the Premier League, because if he does, then he'll look fantastic for us. Then he'll be a good option for somebody who comes off the bench. Maybe could push Firmino out the team one day. Probably won't, but that's probably a shit thing to say, but you never know. We could probably win the league, or maybe not win the league, but maybe win some silverware, maybe the Champions League. We could get our revenge this time. But we've bought in obviously Alisson as well, a goalkeeper we've massively needed, a very good, consistent, reliable goalkeeper, very good for Roma last season. And I think we'll do all right. I think we'll do all right. So, and obviously at first, guys, Manchester City, purely because the team's just too good. Like, I look at the team they've just got a ridiculous team. Like the likes of Aguero, De Bruyne. They bought in Mahrez, who I think could do alright for them. I'm not sure if he'll get enough game time. They've got David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Sterling, Company, Ederson obviously in goal, Kyle Walker, Fernandinho. The list could just go on for ages, man. Just a fantastic team to watch as well. Like, they're a really good team to watch. Gabriel Jesus as well is very good. They're just unbelievable to watch. I think they'll win back-to-back titles. Getting Pep Guardiola, I think, obviously a couple of seasons ago, just a massive improvement. They could win the Champions League maybe. I think this could be the time where they maybe should win the Champions League. Like, the squad is unbelievable. The depth is unbelievable. It's just the whole team's just brilliant. So I do think they'll win back-to-back titles. It's not going to be easy, but you never know. They could pull it off. But anyway, guys, that is my Premier League table. Let me know your table in the comments below. If you do disagree with any of the predictions, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll be sure to maybe talk to you in the comments, discuss it with you. But like I say, this table could easily rotate, especially the top 6. But again, guys, this is only in my personal opinion. If you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like on the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.